All right. Good evening, everybody that has chosen to join us. As you all hopefully heard as you entered the room, the call is being recorded and Jay will pop it in our YouTube channel so anybody can review it at their leisure. Again, my name is Craig Peterman, volunteer at BadgerBots and coordinator of or PDP, I guess is my acronym. Jay Church, head referee, is here. Allison Conrad, head referee, and Brian Farrell, head judge advisor. So we're a week away, or less than a week away, from our first regionals. Appleton kicks it off on Saturday, November 2nd. And then we've got a new regional in West Salem, Wisconsin, on Sunday. So the season is here. Just a little administration issues. Nothing huge, but there still are 27 teams that are not event ready. So again, event ready at First Inspires means you need to have your registration fee paid to First. You need to have two coaches registered, and both coaches need to have completed the youth protection program, which is provided at firstinspires.org. Once those boxes are checked, the team becomes event ready. And then the last step is, of course, to pay BadgerBots the entry fee for the tournament. So, about two-thirds of the teams have already paid, which obviously means about one-third still need to do so. In the weekly newsletter, there is the link to pay online. Invoices have been sent out to everybody that requested it. So now it's just kind of the waiting game. Thank you in advance for taking care of that. All right. So I think what we'll do right now is I'm going to pass the microphone over to Peggy, who is the tournament director of the West Salem tournament on Sunday. So, Peggy, if you wouldn't mind giving some highlights of what coaches can expect.
Well, it's going to be your FLL tournament that we have a lot of helpers coming down to help us out with this. So that's going to be really great to help us kick off a new one. But we'll have 8 teams there. Um, Everything should be really easy to find as you walk in the front door. You'll see the pits and all that right as you come in. The Robot Games is just right to your left as you come in. Everything. I think we're going to have some Lego displays set up, right, Ben? Is that still the plan for some fun things to check out?
Yeah, so we'll have some of the junior kids that have gone through our workshops before. We said that they could end up bringing some creations. In addition to that, when you go into the actual gym, we'll end up running the robot competitions. We'll also have the West Salem FLL. They'll have their high school robot. And then, just like anything, we got concessions planned, and just really excited and also a little anxiety of making sure this goes okay here. So a lot of planning. And by the way, Jay and Brian, I'm right now the time that I'd like to get in is 4:30 on Saturday. I had like the principal has a meeting tomorrow to finalize that. So that's where that's at. So once that's finalized, I was going to send a note out. And then the doors will open at 7. We're asking judges to get there at 7. Brian, I did talk to the person that will be in the front when you walk in to redirect the judges right to the debriefing room. So we'll do that. In fact, I know I sent that email out saying we'd have a little meeting. I still think we will for those that are there just to make sure we're aligned that haven't done this before, because a lot of these people that are volunteering that me and Peggy know, they're new. Some of them have never been to a first Lego League conference or competition before. So that's the goal in the morning, just to get situated, make sure people get to the right spot, make sure people know where things like the bathroom are, where the food is. That's going to be obvious because it'll be right when you walk in. And yeah, I think that's it, Peggy. I feel like we've got everybody assigned. And I haven't heard anything back from people not going to be there. So I think we're locked right now. And probably the good thing, Jay, for you is like some of the people that are refereeing, this is the first time they're doing it. They want to continue to do it. So it's going to be a perfect opportunity to train some of these people for hopefully future competitions, within this area to come. So
Yeah, so you guys have a pretty good crew coming out there. Allison over there, she's actually going to be running your tournament, and I'm going to work with your head ref candidate there. So we'll do some on the job training, and then I know we got some of your local kids that we're training for refing too. So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good tournament. Did they tell you guys about the coffee rule, by the way?
you told me that
Okay,
already.
just making sure.
All right. Any logistical issues coaches need to know about, or easy in, easy out?
Peggy's note was great. It's really simple. I think we said you just drive up. So they've got like a thing where you can drive up, drop stuff off, and then the parking lot's right to the left, looking at the school. Those are going to be the only doors that open, and it's the front doors. So I don't see that being an issue. And Peggy did a great job of saying if you need additional parking, where to go. I don't think we'll need it because the parking lot on the left-hand side of the middle school is pretty big.
Okay.
But they have alternative parking. So yeah, I think we're set up.
All right. Excellent. And just a reminder for all new coaches, you do not need to bring your own field set. You do not need to bring your own table. Those will be provided at the event. All right.
Maybe one other thing, Craig, before I forget. When we're done with the robot game, between robot game and the wards, me and Peggy talked about us talking maybe for 5 minutes, just what we've done around the area to end up increasing adoption. And then I was going to have my daughter talk about the survey that she's put together. And then we'll flash the barcode up on the screen because she's going to be in charge of music and the timer. So that's one other thing we're going to do. And I know she's been communicating with you. She said it sounds like you guys have things figured out of the tweaks. But we're excited to see what that survey results look like. So
yeah. So what Ben is referring to is his daughter has created basically an online survey that you can access via QR code, which we want all parents, coaches, and participants to the survey for them to take, which will take you through a series of questions so that we can learn more about, who is participating in FLL in Wisconsin, how we can retain some of these kids, how we can make it more appealing, what their future plans are, and what are the obstacles to, continuing to participate. So we appreciate Ben's daughter taking on this undertaking and looking forward to the results. So, and it will be available at every tournament. At least that's my intention. And I meant to put it in today's newsletter, but we got behind and just didn't have time to put it in. It'll be in the next one. QR code. Just take the survey. Just share with your parents. Please only do it once. We don't want 7 entries from the same people. So yeah, could be a very insightful exercise, or at least we hope it will be. All right. I was hoping that the tournament director from Appleton would be here, but I don't see him. If we get any additional information about Appleton, we will share it as soon as we can. With that, then I'll ask Jay, anything new from the robot game? Oh, and Brian Hicks has joined us, head judge advisor as well, with Brian Farrell. Good evening, Brian.
Sorry, I muted you, Brian. There's a static going on in your background. I'm not sure what it was. So you're muted, Brian.
All right. Well, you just have to enjoy his head. All right.
Yeah, sorry. I'm at the shop for our robotics team. So yes, there's a lot of noise. So sorry about that.
No problem. Thanks for joining us, Brian. All right, Jay, what do you got?
So there's nothing new, but I do want to share a couple things with you guys from the Slack channel. There's been some questions recently about what happens when mission models break, what happens for scoring? Is there a benefit of the doubt? Stuff like that. So specifically, a team was asking about the scuba diver's flipper was falling off, and what happens with that if they go to get the scuba diver and the flipper falls off? What do they do, right? So we have kind of so first of all, teams are not allowed to break or disassemble any mission models at all. So by the rules, they're not allowed to break anything. We do have a little bit of a benefit of the doubt for small things like the flipper. Because when we reset a table, we don't check every single connection on every single model. It's just impossible to do. If something that is, inconsequential, it's just something that just is, just is there and it's not going to affect the ability to score that mission or make it easier to score, it's generally not a problem, right? We'll just accept it. But if you're having like the unknown creature is coming home and it's in 75 different pieces and it's only made of 8, we're probably not going to allow that as an accident. So that's kind of where we stand with that. If your robot is smashing into something and pretty much all the time you're damaging the models, I suggest just reprogramming that to something a little bit more gentle with the models, because if you're smashing into something that's just hoping it doesn't break and it breaks, you're not going to get the points for that. And Peggy, I did see that you guys are having a team with the having an issue with the unidentified creature as well. So the same thing happens there. If it's inconsequential and you're not making it easier or harder, it's fine. If something does come home, like let's say the scuba diver comes home, you have the flipper with it by chance, you want to go then move that out, you should probably send all parts with it. And then another question about the shark. Is there a standard position for the tail fin? The tail's on a ball socket, so it can easily be twisted in different positions. We notice some positions can get caught on the cave and it doesn't slide. Okay. So here's the official answer for that. The only model element the kids can designate how to set up is the coral tree. All the other models should be set up within the specified area to be aligned with the wireframe. So again, we don't really have time to go and check every single connection and every single thing. There is a setup guide that we have, and it gives us things that are important to check. And the shark tail is not on that list. So if it's in a starting position, what I call a legal starting position, and this goes for all the models, then we will probably not be readjusting them as long as they're in a legal starting position. The only one we would readjust by the rule is the coral tree. And just one other quick one. Someone asked if the red and blue lines are part of home. They are part of home. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Lottery numbers? If the tip of the shark is slightly at the red line, do we score points and the kids grab the shark? Okay. Allison.
Okay, so basically the students are allowed to grab the shark if it is completely within the home area, and the home area includes the line. So if within like reasonable scrutiny of a referee, the shark is within the home area and within the boundaries of the line, they can totally grab it and that's okay. If a match is running and I see like half the shark's butt is still sticking into the rest of the mat, then that would not be okay. But that is what my take would be on that.
And so here's what happens. If the shark's completely in home, no problem, right? If, like Allison said, half of its butt is sticking out on the field and half of it's not, this is what I was just telling Craig a few minutes ago about stranded items. So here's what happens in that specific situation. Shark is stranded, halfway in, halfway out. The kids can choose to do nothing. And they score points for the shark being released from the cave. That's not a problem. They also have a choice to move the shark by hand. Let's say it's in the way, they're getting ready to launch something else, or it's in the way, right? And they move it by hand. What happens then? Well, by rule, if something's stranded, not just the shark, if it's halfway in and halfway out, and it's a mission model, and the kids choose to move it, it comes off the board. Okay? So, because there is secondary scoring option for the shark, if it's off the board, they don't have the option to do the secondary scoring part. They will still get points for it being released from the cave because that happened before the infraction, right? There is no mission, there is no precision token lost for that. So I was thinking there if I was going to go into equipment stranding too, but probably not. So anyway, that answers the question for the shark. I hope, Sharon. If it didn't, oh good, okay. That's about all I got, man. All right, any other questions for us?
All right, let's move on to Mr. Farrell. Brian, Brian, either one of you with any comments, observations about judging, rubrics, so on and so forth.
I guess the thing to keep in mind from the weekend, I had a couple of questions during the scrimmage around. One is the timing. I had one team thinking that the project presentation was longer than the 5 minutes, but no, it is 5 minutes for project presentation, 5 minutes for the Q&A, 5 minutes for robot. Your robot, I'm trying to blank on the word.
The one thing that I would add is please tell the students to bring their robot to the judging room. During the scrimmage, we had quite a few teams that didn't bring it. So that's very important if they can bring their robot so that they can communicate and actually show it to the judges.
Yeah, so the robot design is the explanation part. Sorry, I drew a blank on the word. And then the robot design question and answers. So that's that with the team welcome is 22 of the 30 minutes. The other 8 minutes is the final sharing feedback. The advice to teams is still, if you want to present something, talk, summary kind of thing, get a minute or two to do that, you can do that. Or if you have a follow-up statement or, information you want to get the judges, maybe you thought of another additional data point that you wanted to get based on a question or whatever, you can do that. And then the judges can ask some questions and do the final sharing feedback. So get that final feedback to the team, the verbal feedback to the teams. Then the teams leave the room. Please be prompt about doing that, as the judges need to get their paperwork done. So it's fine to say thank you on the way out or whatever, but please, try to get the room emptied fairly quickly.
Something that came up last year a few times for new teams mostly. What about materials that are given to judges? What should coaches expect from that?
Yeah, so it brings up a couple of topics. So the materials given to judges, honestly, they don't have time during the presentation. If you want to take it and point to something on it, that's fine, but they're trying to pay attention to the students. So, they're not really should be flipping through the book or pamphlet or whatever you gave them. And then even if you do give them something, materials like that have to be taken with, so they can't leave a binder or materials with the judges. There are some teams that leave their team pin or something, and that's fine. But it's anything you leave really can't help them finish up the judging. It's all based on the information. That 30 minutes, they don't have time to consult anything else, nor are they allowed to. And then the other thing is, effective use of presentation materials. A lot of teams will bring in nice big poster boards and stuff like that. That's fine. That's great. But if you're for the judges to really be able to account for it, again, they're paying attention to the students, pointing out things on those boards is really what you need to do so they can take that into account. Anything else? Did I miss anything, Brian?
No, those are the key areas I think we've run into issues in the past. So
One just general reminder, it's not really a judging thing. But the kids do the work, and I know, it's as coaches, sometimes you get overly excited, but especially in the robot practice area, we found coaches, programming the robot or looking like they're programming the robot. Don't even make it a potential, just have the kids doing the work. That doesn't mean you can't mentor them, but to mentor them, you don't need hands on the keyboards, things like that. So, please do that. And then you also set the tone for the team. It's not, winning awards is fun, and advancement is great, but that's not, and we're, the end all. Really, the team operating at the best of their ability is really what you can ask of them.
Brian, the one thing I just remembered is for coaches, please let your teams know, the students. We know they get nervous with the judges, but we're really there because we want to hear about all the work that they did. So we know they get nervous. We do try to watch out if they have their knees locked or if they look a little faint. That has happened in the past. So just, remind the students to kind of maybe relax a little bit and enjoy it.
Mhm.
I have actually a question that I saw a little while ago for the judges, not on our in our group, but I thought it was a really good channel or a really good question. A team was asking, they have a super advanced coder on their team. I guess he was a coder for whatever the VEX comparable FRC or FTC team, whatever that is. So he's super advanced, and the team was wondering, how they can get across to the judges that this is something that the kid was actually doing and not a parent. So if you guys see some really advanced coding that you're like, oh wow, that's super good, it's too good for these kids, what do you suggest that they could do to kind of show that the kids really are doing the work here? Any techniques there?
You want to start, Brian, or you want me to?
The one thing I'll add is most of the judges, if they see something like that, they'll ask the students, can you explain it, in your terms? Some of the judges aren't even technical. So if they can explain it to a judge and, they start to understand it, that goes a long way. Anything else to add, Brian?
I think the key part there is that the kids can explain it and, it's understandable.
Yep.
That they could have done it.
Okay, cool. So there was a question asked about the consistency. Let's go back to the shark real quick as everybody's thinking about questions for Brian and Brian. Any tips for consistency? Thank you, Peggy, for sharing that link. So for people that are watching the video, Peggy shared a link. I'll grab that link if I remember. Hopefully I will, and put it in the YouTube video as well. As far as consistency on the shark, just from experience, I don't trust in luck at all, right? So do the best that you can on your coding, but you should have contingency plans. So I think contingency is as important as consistency. So specifically for the shark, if we're thinking, okay, that's not sliding into home all the way, program a little program that you can go up and knock it into home, drag it into home, scoop it into home, something like that. And I understand that the coral reef segments are there, and so that causes an issue. But I'll give you a little bit of a tip. There's nothing that says you can't launch the robot heading back towards the wall. Go into the home area and scoop it back that way. That's fine too. Okay, so contingency to me is as important as consistency. So yeah, see, Allison shaking her head. Yeah, I know I did good that time. She's like, oh, he had a good one.
You do sometimes.
Once in a while.
Well, you need to type all these up and put it into the
I
coaching
have
tip of the
one.
week.
I have one that's this long.
Oh,
I didn't get it to you in time today. We've been busy this weekend.
well, that's why we went to a link
Yeah.
to go somewhere else as opposed to putting it all in the newsletter.
So, just so everybody, I'll give you a sneak peek. The next tip is, why did the ref take my stuff? Yeah,
Okay.
because we take stuff off the board, and kids are very surprised that we're taking it off the board, and they want to know why. So, coming soon.
All right, Brian, anything else? No? I guess I'll just
So,
mention one other thing that
I don't
some
have anything.
coaches- I was just gonna say, as far as the actual sequence of events going into the presentation, just know that the parents and audience members, including the coaches, will be invited in first. They'll be situated, and then the team will come in, just the participants. So they're the ones that have to be responsible for setting everything up, being hopefully efficient with that process, because the clock starts as soon as the team comes into the room. So keep that in mind if you're practicing, and be prepared. That's the sequence of events.
That's a great document you shared, Peggy. I'll definitely have to remember to put that in the link.
Okay, so let's open it up to any questions from coaches that are participating here tonight. And of course, if there aren't any, then we'll call it an evening. Going once, going twice. Sold. All right. Well, good luck to everybody, especially those teams that are competing on Saturday and Sunday. I suspect we're going to learn a lot this coming weekend about this season. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll be in both Appleton and West Salem.
Wow.
I am a signed up pit runner in West Salem. I've never been such, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what a pit runner does. Anyway,
We'll find
good
out.
night, everybody. Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody. Good
Hey,
luck.
guys.